And back on Radio Row with Annie Agar, not Agar, as you told me before we got rolling. You see her on Instagram, you see her on TikTok, you see her on TV, you see her everywhere. And an exciting week for the city, an exciting week for the league. I'm sure an exciting week for you as well. And we'll get to what you're doing this week in a second, but I just want to start here. At what point were you like, I think I'm kind of on to something here?
That's a great question. So I started this all when COVID was happening, and I felt like we needed a little comedic relief from these, dark times. Nobody was laughing. Nobody's talking about sports again. It was all political and all, these depressing news stories. So I was getting ready to cover the Big Ten. We had been ramping up their spring games starting, and I had this idea to do a Zoom meeting because that's what we were all doing on the Big Ten. And if, they did a call to get football up and running again, what that would look like, knowing the Big Ten in and out, seeing that I grew up there, I kind of had a grasp of what each fan base looked like or what each college looked like in a person. So I imitated that and put it in a video. And then I did that on TikTok. I didn't actually put that video on Twitter. Someone had shared it on Twitter, and then Desmond Howard, and I'm not even kidding you, within a day, my phone was blowing up, and I think Desmond Howard, Kirk Herbstreit retweeted it, and when that happened, and I saw all of these, I've never seen notifications go that quickly on my phone. I didn't even know that was possible. That's when I kind of knew this idea could go somewhere. It was a time, like I said, it was a time we needed some laughter and something to kind of look at in a positive way, and I thought this was a great opportunity for it, and kind of just went from there.
So you talk about all the college football stuff. Now, obviously, you're doing so much NFL. Like, I'm curious, is it hard to keep up with 32 NFL teams? Because you don't have to be in the weeds of the X's and O's, but you kind of have to know what's going on all around the league.
Right. Yes, it's very difficult, and people think, oh, she just watches games all day Sunday, and I do. I watch Red Zone religiously, and I'm compiling notes throughout all the games, but I say that I want to make jokes that I just don't get, because everybody can make a joke that's, because we all are a little biased in the NFL.
Sure.
I have a favorite team. We all are like that. But I want to make jokes that people and fan bases relate to. So I'll sit on Twitter, I'll stalk the fan bases and see what they're talking about, what's trending, and you can look at every NFL situation and see how every fan base is handling it based off the comments they're making and the tweets that they're putting out. So I try to do that so that when I make these jokes, it's coming from each one of the fan bases and it feels personal. And people even said before I released who my favorite team is, they said they wanted to know who it was, and that was a great compliment to me, because I wanted it to be pretty equal to the point where they thought I was a fan of every team. So it is a lot of research and a lot of making sure I'm on the beat of every one of these NFL teams.
And no one shoots 100%, right? I give these guys a hard time. I think we shoot a really high percentage, but we miss sometimes.
Right.
So does
Russell Westbrook all the time, but it's okay.
50% of the time, I think.
50%.
Yeah. But do you have there been any jokes that you put out there oh, it didn't land. It didn't land. I thought it was gonna be it was gonna be solid, and it just.
Yeah. Not too much, and this is what's great about the videos is I make the joke so quickly that hopefully, and this I think is a fun comedic timing thing too. I make the joke and then I'll back it up with another joke. So by the time you're still reeling from that first joke, there's another one that hopefully hits you. And the only thing nobody's really said that joke didn't hit, but that they've missed it.
Oh, okay.
So which is hilarious, because I'll do little things in there that maybe that's not really the part of the joke, but leads into it too. So, say there's something that happened during the 2-minute warning, I'll use 2 minutes instead of 5 minutes, or I'll do little Easter eggs in there too. So it's not been so much that a joke hasn't hit, but maybe that people have missed the joke, and it sometimes is my favorite joke. So I'm like, okay, nobody saw that really. It's like when a comedian's up there and says a great thing and nobody laughs. You're like, okay, well, next one.
But you know what? We put it in the back pocket, right?
Exactly.
And
Save it for later,
right?
right?
Hey, I know that was a good one.
Right.
I imagine that because of everything that's happened to you as you've had a bunch of really cool experiences, opportunities that have come up. What's the one for you where you're like, okay, because of the success that I had doing the videos and stuff, I've been able to do X?
That is a great question. Nobody's really asked that yet so far. The coolest thing probably that I've done so far, I got a job with Bally Sports because of these videos, basically. And they are so great. They still let me do all the social content that I wanted to do, but we have now the opportunity to do interviews and all these features and stuff like that. So thanks to these videos, a lot of NFL coaches and players had reached out and they were following me because of the videos that I put out, and Ron Rivera is one of them. So Coach Rivera reached out, and he said, I just did a video this year when remember when they were playing the Bucks and they had like a 15-minute drive.
Oh,
took
yeah,
half
yeah,
the
yeah,
game.
yep.
So in the video I had made a joke about them still driving, and then Coach texted me a couple of days after, and he said, "Hey, I just want to let you know I saw your video. It was a really great video. Sorry I didn't text you sooner. I was still driving."
Ah,
like, oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. So he and I had a great relationship through Twitter, and I said, "Hey, I'm coming out to LA." I think this was back in August of last year. I said, "Hey, I'm going to be out in LA we were covering something else." And I said, "I'd love to sit down and do, I'm doing this interview segment that I want to get started where we do things that you're comfortable with, maybe that I'm not too good at, but it makes it a fun and funny segment." And he was like, "Well, let's go golfing." So I said, "Okay, let's find a place in Washington, D.C. We'll go golfing somewhere. It's going to be great." He was like, "No, let's go out in L.A." So I'm like, "Okay, well, fine, of course." He's like, "No, how about Pebble Beach?" I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, sure." Me, I'm not a good golfer. I've tried really hard, but I'm not great. I can putt pretty well, but that's about it. And so I golfed on Pebble Beach with Ron Rivera, and he pretty much gave me golf lessons at Pebble Beach. And these guys were probably looking at me like, who the heck is this lady, and who let her on our amazing golf course? But it was so cool, and it was such a great story that I have now, to tell people what Ron is like, that he took the time to do that with me was pretty cool.
And that's like two things. One, it's like a Mad Lib. I went golfing at Pebble Beach with Ron Rivera. But that's such like a bucket list item for so many sports fans, right? Where it's like, even to take Ron out of it, right? If it's
golfing at Pebble Beach.
golfing at Pebble Beach, but then throw in like Phil Jackson, for us, Josh McDaniels, whoever it is, Kyle Shanahan, and like that's a good one. I'll give you credit. That's a really good one.
It was a fun one, yeah.
Have you had a chance to? I mean, probably not so much in the current climate that we're living in, but have you had a chance to get out to Allegiant yet? And we had you to do a video out there.
I did. I was in Vegas. We were doing stuff with the Mountain West.
The Mountain Best, as I like to call them.
The Mountain Best, yeah. And I may or may not have used you guys in a joke in one of my picture captions about the stadium, but I did not go there. I was not able to. I was only there for 2 days, so it was super quick. But yes, I would love to take a tour of it. I promise I won't roast you too badly.
But that's like part of it, right?
It
Everyone
is,
wants to get roasted. And it's all good-hearted, exactly, right? As long as it's not malicious, like everyone wants to get roasted. It's part of the bit. But like next time you're out in the desert, you got to come hit us up. We'll get you in that stadium. It'll be a blast.
That's right up there with SoFi for me. Like I think that stadium is just beautiful, and I'd love to standing inside of SoFi. I'm like, this is real. Like it's huge, because I'd been to Lambeau and Ford Field and all the Midwest stadiums. They're great, but man, it's just different out west here. It's crazy.
And I will say, admitting the bias, understanding that we have the silver and black helmet on the front of the table.
Yes.
I don't know. It's not going to get much better than Allegiant. It's really not. It's really not.
No, I feel you. Yep.
But this week, obviously a huge week. There's so much stuff going on. We're here. There's all these teams here. Pretty much everyone and their mom who's got a microphone and a lighting setup is here. What do you have cooking over the next couple of days leading into the big game?
So I did an AFC and an NFC recap video. Since there was no game this past weekend, it was a good way to recap and really involve the fans. I had them send in their fan videos as if they were in the meeting, and they acted out like I do. It was so fun to go through all these videos. So I put them in as if they were in an actual meeting. So that was kind of a lead up to this weekend. And then I'm kind of doing behind the scenes stuff, because I asked them, and I went on Instagram Live and I said, "What do you guys want from Radio Row? What do you want to see from the Super Bowl?" And they really wanted to know the background of it, because nobody sees, you see the stuff you guys put out, but what about the setup? What about all these behind the scenes things? So trying to just give them that kind of content and show them what a day in the life basically looks like of someone covering the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's as glamorous as everyone thinks it is. Right?
It
as
is.
you sit in
A
these
lot
fancy
of work.
chairs
Yeah,
and the table skirts and all that.
Right.
But hey, this was so much fun. In all seriousness, next time you get out to Vegas, you let us know.
We'll
get you in the
sure.
stadium.
I would love it.
And we'll have some fun, okay?
I would love it. That sounds great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of the week.
Thanks for having me on.